Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for visiting. And if you're new, by all means, feel free to like and subscribe. And also thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting the channel, who's been providing just insight, inspiration, and guidance as I embark upon this new journey, which is to create and to really grow the title Luke Oswell, Professional Problem Solver. And here again, we have what is really the first slash issue edition, if you will, in this form. And what I'm considering is actually probably making physical, more physical copies if anyone's interested in having copies of this. But again, I just want to thank you for the incredible support. If I had only received 20 views on the video, I would have thought that was amazing. So to have, I think almost 400 on the main video and quite a few views across the shorts, I'm incredibly humbled and thankful. What I want to do today is actually work through and whittle through, if you will, if you would like to journey with me in a very kind of just raw, unedited form, all of my work from like high school, from undergrad, from earlier, from what I can tell. I pulled it from storage to basically have to sort of find myself and deal with my stuff, literally in this case. And so as I'm kind of working through it and discussing it, what I'm aiming to do is to develop a style that's me, that's mine as much as possible. And even as I glance at sort of what I find here, and again, so I live in a working class area, so you're going to hear every type of vehicle possible. You're going to hear like, street glides, you're going to hear 18-wheelers, you're going to hear, I don't know, probably like KC-10 refueling jets. You might hear any and everything. But again, just raw, unedited, this is how I'm doing this. And also, my little one may walk in at some point, so if you see me sort of do this dramatic pause for the purpose of like doing some really long Cecil B. DeMille pause and dissolve, then that's the reason for that. Okay, so looking through this, most recently, and as you can see here in Luke Oswell, we have a character by the name of Bianca Battle, also known as Miss 28. And as to why her name is Miss 28, that becomes a bit more clear over the course of the upcoming episodes, the 60-second episodes that will start dropping on August 10th, and also the book that I finally plan on doing. And it may very well take a year for me to put it together, and I'm probably going to put it together in the most raw form possible. It might have a very significant manga influence, possibly black and white. I'm trying to get away from hatching as much. I'm trying to get away from the incredible and almost indelible influence of 90s artwork that it's had on me, because that artwork is great for those individuals who've done it, the masters, McFarlane, Stephen Platt, the late great Norm Brayfogle, who had his own style that wasn't quite, the Image, quote unquote, extreme 90s style. But I have to find my own voice and what works for me, and to have enough confidence to just say, maybe I'm doing too much in the way that I'm doing what I'm doing. And sometimes, when we do too much, we end up getting very little done. So this was a character that I had developed, from what I can tell, probably 20 years ago. And I was going for sort of a Shazam kind of thing. But as you can tell, you can definitely see the 90s influence. I want to say this was a cover that I was working on, and this looks like an opening page here. I think my concern here was far more on the action than the story, certainly the dialogue. I dare not read the dialogue, not great. And what I also noticed is the extent to which I would sort of start things and I just wouldn't finish the page. I would just give up or something. Life has a way of lifing. And at the same time, I had a mentor who once said, if you're going to do something, do what your soul requires. Do the thing that you would do, even if it cost you everything. The thing that you will do when everything will cost you everything, that's what you need to do. So this looks like probably junior high school. So before there were middle schools, I was in junior high school. And again, I think I was trying to, I don't know what I thought relationships were. I'll have to go back and read this. Maybe that would be a whole thing. Why not read it now? This is probably going to be embarrassing because I don't know. Okay, so he says, So how's the life of a successful accountant? Still dating that lawyer out of LA. And let's see, she says, "You mean Daryl? We broke up. I'm dating a cardiologist now." I'm sorry, this is terrible. And so then he says, "You're amazing. Too bad you're spoken for." So then she says, "Keith, what the hell is your problem? You're a nice guy." He says, "Stop playing with me, Vanessa. Maybe," and then she says, "Maybe if you had self-esteem, you'd be married." Okay, like I said, I'm not going to edit anything out, but okay, let's power through this Shakespearean whatever this is. Maybe if you had self-esteem, you'd be married. Okay, Vanessa, I get the point. You can lay off now, please. Thank you. Truthfully, I'd go out with you if you try being more assertive, more manly. Okay, so we're off and running there. I'm not going to read all of this terrible dialogue. I'm talking about my artwork. I should be working on like how characters speak. But again, this is undergrad and junior high, and let's see. You call yourself a hero. The only lives you save are those you endanger. That's actually not a bad line because he says it's pitiful, and then you see kind of the way I try to flex, like being a grown up here with the expletives. So I was being extreme 90s or whatever. But definitely, yeah, the 90s influence where the emphasis is on like visuals, definitely not on the storytelling. So yeah. So this is gonna go, let's see, over here. I don't know what this character was doing. This was definitely, I want to say like ninth grade. Again, the 90s. I mean, he's got everything going on. I don't know if he's a vigilante, if he's superpowered, he's got a shotgun. I don't know. Let's see. This is 94, so I would have been a sophomore when I did this. But again, anatomically, not exactly whatever, but in the 90s, who needed anatomy lessons? It was all about being, again, extreme. Okay, so exotic dance clubs made their way into like a lot of the work back then. I remember actually pitching this particular comic when I was in LA. There was an awesome guy by the name of John Elliott who worked at Mosaic Media. And also there was a manager, also, again, really nice guy named Jimmy Miller. And I remember I came out to see John a couple of times. This is back when their offices were on Sunset. And I pitched this, and he was really interested in it. And again, sad to say, embarrassed to say, I just, I don't know, gave up, stopped doing whatever. And, now being 50, I'm feeling the full effect of why one should not stop doing the thing that you really think you should be doing. And he doesn't have any lunch money today. So I'm sure this character here was, this character, so yeah, now I'm remembering. The little kid here was, yeah. So that was that. And of course, in my world, then the first place, you hit is the gentleman's club once you get superpowers. So there's that. Definitely so much Jim Lee influence here. I mean, basically this character was a death blow. Let's see, so it just seems to be pages there. What I'm doing is kind of organizing, correlating, and collating, and I guess also correlating whatever. Again, pencils that I didn't finish, probably those don't show up. Wow. Wow. Okay. So this is from 1988. This was a copy of the Fantastic Four that I did. I would have been 11 at the time. And I can see that my good brother Luther Truesdale actually did the back inside cover. He created two characters, Rage and Bull. So yeah, this was the Fantastic Four featuring Spider-Man in the black suit. So yeah, been doing this for a little bit because I love comics. Speaking of which, and again, I'm scatterbrained, I'm all over the place doing this. But speaking of which, in terms of what I'm reading now, of course, reading Absolute Batman. I'm finally catching up on it. Had so much that I've been doing, but this is absolute cinema of comics. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Let's see, I'm gonna put that over here. And okay, so I've got other stuff here. In terms of things influencing Luke Oswald and kind of where the story comes from, these are like some of the influences. Season 3 of The Orville. I liked The Orville more than I thought that I would. And season 3, phenomenal. I would love for there to be a season 4. If I'm correct, Seth MacFarlane has completed a recent graphic novel that picks up from the events of season 3. Season 3 is absolutely incredible. Phenomenal. And let's see. Whoa, Community season 4. Okay, that one didn't happen. Okay, but the others absolutely did. So yeah, Community, huge influence. I love just the writing, the creativity. Such a launch pad for so many incredible artists that we love. Some of the best writing, I think, ever in television, alongside Frasier as well. The Aviator, major influence on one particular character that I'm developing. Californication, I would say a huge influence on Luke Oswald's personality. Yeah, huge influence there in terms of the dynamic I'm going for. Luke Oswald very much is a good guy who has his things that he works through. Frasier, of course, classic. Trial and Error is actually a film that, this is a Cave Entertainment production. My good brother, Aaron Philip Clark, matter of fact, my good brother, and I'm not sponsored, I don't have any sponsors or anything, so anything that I'm showing you, it's what I'm showing you, you know, what I love, what I like. My good brother, Aaron Philip Clark, The Bluest Night, his newest novel, the 5th installment of the Trevor Finnegan saga. Also, he co-authored with none other than Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, The Accomplice. Congratulations to my brother, Aaron Philip Clark. He has a website. I'll drop it in the description. Phenomenal artist. I also want to thank, though I don't know him, I've never met him, and of the many content creators that I've been subscribing to and just following and watching, Chris at comictropes. I'm going to say, at this point, and I've probably been watching YouTube since April 05, whenever it first started. I was living in Pasadena at the time. Comictropes has to be my favorite channel. That's the channel that I check into, and I've never even done like a super chat before in my life, but did my first super chat with Chris over at Comictropes, and he does a series on the Golden Age that is phenomenal and funny. My daughter and I laughed for days watching the Dynamite Thor review that he did. So awesome work there. Also, very different from comics, but also somebody very, very cool. Soaps the Ghost over at Demons Row TV. So in the Luke Oswald saga, Bianca Battle, Miss 28 is a part of a motorcycle club. Now, in the world of Luke Oswald, it's not an outlaw motorcycle club because for certain reasons, motorcycle clubs all united to become a global conglomerate. And as a result of becoming a global conglomerate, they're no longer outlaws, but they do incredible things to help and protect people. And so Bianca is one of Luke's closest friends, and we will discover in the 60-second episodes that Luke's dad actually started the club Trial and Error. So Trial and Error, flip side is Handsome Johnny. So Trial and Error, this says it's the best comic book you've never read. So this is really early me again starting something that I didn't finish, which is a theme that I need to stop doing, ironically. Let's see, another copy of Trial and Error. For anybody who knows of my other material, then that's what that is. A big part of why I'm finally doing what I'm doing, I've had to, for a good amount of time, for decades, do everything that other people wanted me to do, and now I'm not going to do that anymore. Okay, so the 90s influence on me, I definitely know what can't happen is that I focus more on visuals than story. So I may keep the first Luke Oswald graphic novel. It's just going to be a one-shot graphic novel. It may be, wow. So, okay, so apparently, won an art award. It's just going to be black and white, very raw. I would love to do a very high end, color, well developed graphic novel. And eventually I want to do that because I really want to respect anyone who would take the time and make the effort to read what I'm writing, to see what I'm doing. But at the same time, I know the important thing is I've just got to get something out. It's a lot easier to change the direction of a moving car than it is a car that's parked.